Right, so here's all the ingredients, guys. This is for the coconut and butternut squash dal. That's the topping right there. That's my 450ml water, 40 grams of cream coconut, and a veg stock cube. It's going to make my stock. This is obviously the rest of the ingredients which I'll be using to make it. Obviously, once the oven is warmed up, I will put in the topping to ready, and then I'll start cooking off the rest of the ingredients to make the dal, and I'll continue filming once that's ready. Right, so warming up the pan with, as you can see, a wee bit of olive oil. You don't want to use too much oil because you don't want your food greasy or that, but obviously you don't want to burn your onions for the dal. These onions, not them onions, these onions. So yeah, you don't want to be burning stuff. No one likes burnt food, so I use a wee bit of that. And then obviously I'm still waiting on this to start. So we're started. We're getting there. So once the oven's heated up, I will add these to the oven. I will do them for 15-20 minutes at 180 on a fan oven, because I've got a fan oven. Obviously put the oven thing on, the extractor. So I don't burn the flat down. And obviously I do turn them halfway. I personally caramelise my onions in the oven. I just find that they taste better. But obviously personal preference. If you don't like your onions caramelised, don't caramelise them. Just don't cook them as long. And obviously that's us for now. So next part, 100 grams. As you can see, 100 grams red lentils. I will rinse these under the cold tap. Obviously just to clean them off. We're trying to find the sieve, bear with me. Trying to find everything. Haha, ta-da! Yeah, so you rinse these under the cold tap just to clean the lentils, because obviously they come out of the packet, so they're going to be all dusty and stuff. Right, so that's the lentils rinsed, all nice. The pan is heating up quite nicely. Let's take the lid off that. Give this a stir. Trusty spoon. Because obviously you turn the heat down. Now it's boiling. Turn it down to a simmer, because obviously you don't want it to burn, you know. Because obviously it's veg stock and cream coconut. Let's give it a wee stir. The oven's nice and heated up now, so I can now place the onions and the squash in the oven. So I'm going to do that now. I put it on the middle shelf, as you can see, and then just start the timer. Now the pan's heated up, I will add the onions. I do try and clean as I go along, as you can see, because no one wants it. There's nothing worse than like cooking and then having a big, massive cleaning to do afterwards. My general rule of if I'm cooking for people is I cook, they wash up. Which you can do yourself, you know, you can make people do that for you. If you're going to the trouble of cooking or cooking together, clean up and cook together. You know, it saves the work, you know. So this is what I'm doing. I've now got the onions heating up. I add the turmeric, just a teaspoon of it. And obviously mix it together, give it a wee mix. Just so the onions get the flavour as well. So I'll take this off the pan in a wee second, because I need to add some garlic and some lovely ginger. So this is the original recipe that I got from, this is what it actually is. So there you go, you can have a look at that as well. It does say that you use 1 garlic clove or 15 grams of fresh root ginger. I normally find that if I'm using like a paste, just to make things a bit easier and a bit speedier, it works just as well. So don't worry about it. It does work well. So what I normally do is tablespoon. Normally put a tablespoon of the garlic in and about 1.5 of the ginger. Yeah, so in goes the garlic. That's the garlic. And I'm going to add the ginger now. Bear with me. So there goes 1. That's the ginger as well. That's 1 tablespoon. I'm going to add another half. There you go, 1.5. So 1.5 of that. And then I'll give it a good stir, give it a good mix around. Add it back to the heat first, sorry. So yeah. What you want to do is you're just making the onions, the turmeric, the garlic and the ginger like fragrant. That's what you want. Give that a wee bit more of a stir. You don't want it lumping together either. But it's on simmer now anyway, just to keep it warm while you're cooking. Because you'll be adding it straight into this once obviously that's ready. And then add in the lentils, and well, we'll see as we go along anyway. As you can see, there's always plenty of supplies in the cupboard for making stuff. That's my wee bakey section, because as I said I don't bake. But the spice collection I was telling my friend about, Sister Preet, there you go, nice little spices and herbs. Obviously this is all the stuff I mainly use, as you can see. Tofu, yeah, I use a lot of tofu. So yeah, just waiting for that, and then once that's done I'll continue on with the next step. So gonna add the lentils now. Gonna add the red lentils first. Now that's all nice and fragrant. It doesn't matter if you've got a wee bit of the excess water, because the water will help when you're cooking it. Yeah, red lentils in, so I'm going to add the green ones now. Add them with the water, you don't need to drain them or anything, you just add them straight to the pan. Obviously give everything a good mix. I'll be almost ready in a few minutes to turn over the butternut squash and the onions in the oven, because obviously you don't want to burn them all. You want them cooked evenly, so I've got 2 minutes for that. So just wait for this to, I'll turn this back up because obviously it was on a wee low heat. Just turn it wee back up to a bit of a medium. So now the stock's ready. Give it another wee stir before you add it to the lentils and the onions. Just bear with me while I try and do this. So here we go, we're adding the stock, coconut stock. As you can see, there's still a wee bit that's not melted, but that will melt down obviously once you're cooking it, because you do simmer it for 15 to 20 minutes. I will wash that in a second. As you can see, I've took them out the oven. They're starting to caramelise quite well. Let's use a wee, because yeah, I like mine caramelised, you know. So what I'll do is I'll turn over the squash. Bear with me so I don't end up burning myself. Because as I said, you want it cooked evenly. You know, you don't want it not cooked evenly. Woofed. Burny. So yeah, just turn it over. That's all I do. Just turn it over. Some people like a bit of a crunch with it. I like a bit of a crunch with my vegetables. Don't know why, I just do. It's one of them things that I'm into. So yeah, now I've turned them. I'll add them back to the oven. I think I've got another 5 minutes for this to do, because you don't want to overcook them either. It says 15 to 20 minutes, but as you can see, I reckon about 5 minutes and I'll be done. So then after that's done, I will just turn the oven off, leave them in the oven just to keep warm before you start dishing it up, because I've still got a while left for this. So keep giving this a stir. What you want to do is you want the stock and everything just to combine. You want it to obviously, you can see it's quite liquidy at the minute. You don't want that. You want it to compress down and become your dal. So not a watery mess, you know. So yeah, we'll keep going. And I'll keep you guide step by step on the way. And obviously, as you can see, how quick this is easy to make so far. You know what I mean? I've been filming this for 10 minutes. Obviously, I did pre-cut the stuff, because that does take time. Cutting the squash takes time. So, but you can use slices. You can get frozen ones, or you can get fresh ones if you don't want to cut it yourself. But I always recommend that you get fresh squash and just cut it yourself. It's just as easy. The best thing you can do if you want to make your squash soft enough to cook is put some holes in it and stick it some water, and some hot water, sorry, put it in a bowl. And what we'll do is that we'll soften the squash for cutting it. So there's a wee tip for you. I know if you've made this before, obviously this is the meal that this is one of Preet's favourites that I make for her. And obviously this is the lemon juice I use. I use lemon juice when I add it to the dal, but obviously for garnish and that, then I use actually a lemon which is in the fridge. I keep fridge. We only use half a lemon for your garnish. You just cut it into wee wedges or slices. You just put it on with the rest of it, because obviously I'm going to be adding coriander to it and some lemon juice next, because it's now, as you can see, it's starting to get there. So I'll add some coriander now. So there we go, and some coriander. Keep the rest for garnish, you know. So there we go, some lovely coriander. And what I'm going to do is turn that down because it's getting it's getting there. So I cut coriander fresh for my garnish. Now I'm going to add some lemon, bear with me. I add half the juice of the lemon. So what I'm going to do is that should do it, that should be about half. You just get to know how to do it and how to gauge it in the end, especially if you're using like lemon juice. And obviously you can taste test it as well. If you've made the recipe before, you will know how it's meant to taste. So my butternut squash, as you can see, I think that is done. So the oven will get turned off. Let's not lose the knob of my cooker, because let's not do that. So yeah, as you can see, it's done. So I will keep that in the oven. That's the tubs that everything will be going into for taking it for people to consume at work. Obviously, as you can see, I've been cleaning as I go along. This nigella seeds are for your garnish as well, just so you know, guys. We add them. So, as you can see, this is all coming together beautifully. But no, you need to cook it for the 15-20 minutes, obviously, for the lentils to get cooked thoroughly, because obviously no one likes raw red lentils. And as you can see, they're all coming together. So yeah, I know some people just took these out the oven. I know some people think, oh, but she's burnt the onions. No, I've not burnt the onions. I've caramelized the onions with the oil, and it says to add a wee bit of salt. I don't add salt to food. I think there's enough salt in food. There's no need to add any. So yeah, I'm gonna wait for that to cool, and obviously once the dal's ready, I will then start topping it up into the tubs you see. And then presentation, and then you'll see the finished verdict once it's all ready, and that'll be the final last step. Don't need to watch me serve it up, but I will show you the prep and how to put it all together. As you can see now, because all the water's kind of absorbed in, it's almost ready. Just so you know, I'll only be garnishing it with obviously some more coriander that I'm going to cut. The squash on top, which I'll probably slice down into little small pieces. Obviously some onions on top. And then you normally add the nigella seeds on top, but this time I won't be adding the nigella seeds onto the presentation for it, because that's stuff that you can add when you serve it. I'll be taking it into work, obviously, with the lemon in wedges, so people can add it when they're at work, but I won't be putting it into the tubs for when I package it up. So I tub it up, because the worst thing is, even though you do squeeze the rest of the lemon into it, you don't want to leave it in there, especially if you put it in the fridge to store it till you get it to work, because it will just make it more lemony, and it does ruin the flavour a wee bit, and obviously the seeds and all that. There you go, guys, topped up. Final bit done. As you can see, I try and give equal portions, because like this is a very filling meal. So yeah, also did some washing, and as I said, all you can do is add the nigella seeds and the lemon to it afterwards. But there you go, finished product. Enjoy.